Good morning. Welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary as well as those online. I am Laura Shennum, Minister of Congregational Life here at UUSF, and I'm joined on the chancel by our worship associate, Richard Davis Lowell. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to our musicians today, our organist, Reiko Lane, our song leader, Andrew Kessler, our director of music, Mark Sumner, and our guest musician, jazz pianist, Larry Chen. Thank you so much for being here. We are grateful to our tech team led by Alex Schofield on sound and Shuli Ong on cameras. Gratitude to our sextons, Francisco Castellanos and Thomas Brown this morning. Huge thanks goes out to Alicia Cover and Emma Wakeling, who have been covering for Jonathan Silk during his vacation and creating our orders of service. And finally, gratitude to our ushers led by Linda Mesner and to Amy Kelly for our beautiful flowers. Again, it takes a village for us to come together on Sunday mornings. It is our custom here at UUSF to extinguish a candle when one of our members have died. This morning, it is with sadness I share the news of the death of Eloise Mayo, a longtime member of UUSF and most recently a member of UU San Mateo. Eloise died peacefully, surrounded by her adult children, Beth and David Johnson, as well as their spouses, on Friday, August 16th. A memorial service will be held at UU San Mateo in the fall, and we will provide that information when we receive it. We hold her family in our hearts and prayers. We hope all of you here in the sanctuary as well as on live stream have your order of service so you can follow along in our worship. A quick COVID note, masks are no longer required, but you are strongly encouraged to wear one or do whatever you need to do to feel safe and comfortable. To my left is a section for masked-only people if you would like to be in that space. Always, if you are feeling unwell, please stay home and enjoy our services online. Today, I will continue the sermon series on spiritual practices by talking about small group ministry program, which we launched in the Flame this past week. It is an intimate way for people to connect over deeper listening and reflection. I will let you know how it will be different this year because of the monthly themes we will be engaging, as well as how there will be other opportunities available beyond the traditional style. You will have the opportunity to engage in a small group practice during worship today. So, I'm warning you now, get ready to talk to each other come sermon time, okay? Once again, welcome and let us worship together.
Will you join me in our unison chalice lighting printed in your program? We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together. And please rise as you're able for our opening hymn, number 1008 in your teal hymnal, When Our Hearts is in a Lonely Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love. amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. I'm Liz Strand, and I'm a member of the UUSF Board of Trustees. Seek me out after the service in the gallery or courtyard if you have any input or any questions. Members are invited to attend board meetings. They are held on every third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 in the fireside room, or you can join by Zoom. Our next meeting is this coming Tuesday. This month's highlights will include a report from the Investment Committee. For more info, email our Secretary, Lucy Smith, at secretary@uusf.org. If this is your first time joining us in person or watching on live stream, thanks for being here. If you would like to receive a copy of The Flame, our weekly newsletter, which includes a link to our order of service and Sunday live stream, you can fill out one of our yellow connection forms. Those forms are on the welcome table outside of the sanctuary in the gallery, or perhaps in the pew in front of you, and available through, again, a link in the order of service. The order of service lists upcoming events and links to opportunities to connect. Please engage in any or all that are of interest to you. I believe that's all I wanted to bring to your attention, so let's take a moment to greet one another. If you are on live stream, please take a moment to introduce yourself on the chat, and then listen for the music that is going to tell you when you should go back to your seats. Thank you.
Thank you for coming back together and finding your seats. Now is the time in our service where we lift up the promises that we hold with each other by saying our unison covenant that's printed in our order of service. Please say those words with me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak truth in freedom, and to help one another. I invite you into a time of meditation and deep listening. Settle into your seats, plant your feet firmly on the ground, relax your shoulders. If it feels comfortable to you and safe to you, close your eyes. Our reflection on listening is from Undrowned Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Animals by Alexis Pauline Gumbs. I invite you into a time of deep listening to the breath of those around you, to the noises outside the space you are in, to your heart and its wisdom. Take a moment to just listen. May you find places to stop and just listen today and in the week to come. Amen.
When I think of a small group I belonged to a few years ago, Curiosity, we called it, I remember a couple of things. First, that it ended in a surprising way, and second, that it was, like life, a little messy. But when I look at the photographs of our group, I see good times and bad, and I think I finally understand what it means to be in relationship over time. It's like enjoying the seasons. They come and they go, they blossom, they change, even if you don't want them to. It's the cycle of life, the coming and going of friends and seasons. My challenge has been to make peace with that. 12 friends came together for nearly 6 years. We became closer than a high school band. And like a band, we each carried different instruments, and for a time, we played harmoniously. I agreed to join the group because I wanted more from my church, more from life, and over the years, I got more than I expected. How does the saying go? Be careful of what you ask for, you just might get it. I remember how I felt when it began to pull apart, how and why those seasons changed, at least for me. Like summer slipping into fall, I was present as our group ripened and blossomed, and just as seasons inevitably change, so did we. I hadn't expected that, but it happened. I realize now that those changes were a part of a natural cycle. And instead of ending, our experiences became a part of me, something alive, like sourdough starter, that I returned to and I would use again and again. That experience has made me much more intentional about joining another small group and aware of how important they are in my life. I'm apparently drawn to the connection because I can't live without it. I can't ignore that urge, that cry for connection. It's inside of me. The world swirled menacingly around me as a child, and I clung to and tried to protect whatever stability I could find. Today, when I find or sense that possibility, I'm drawn to it, but cautiously. I remember someone telling me that he wasn't a joiner. Well, I am. Small groups. Just when I think I haven't joined another one, I turn around and, well, I'm in another one. Our worship associates, a kind of small group, we're also different. Dennis from Mari, Sam to Daniel to Carmen, and now Santana and Gregory. Our UUSF meditation group, 3 times a week. My book club, once a month. And now my Buddhist lay ministry group, all small groups. I found these small communities come together for a time. We grow close in ways that's unique for that time and place. We bring to the group what we have at that moment. Sometimes we share over a meal, sometimes over Zoom. We come together and then move back out into the world, taking a bit of that experience, those moments with us. For me, it's like sourdough starter. It becomes the starter for other interactions in my life. I found that in order to get something, I have to get something back, just a pinch of myself. And I'm willing to do that. And it's important that I'm cautious, that I'm aware, and that I'm honest. Curiosity. We met together for 6 years, once a month, in our homes over a meal. It was a special time, and our chapter came to a graceful close. But that starter stayed with me. I took a piece of that with me, and I feed it every once in a while, and it lives on. I brought a piece of that with me today. With it comes curiosity, a desire to know another person's contours just that much more, to compare and contrast their experience with my own, and vulnerability. I'm hoping to better understand my own life, my place in the scheme of things. When I need all of those experiences together, they almost look like a life, my life. I was born into one small group I didn't choose, but these others, I choose them. And today, I choose carefully. Our offering today will go to support the work of Drum East Bay Chapter. Drum, diverse and revolutionary Unitarian Universalist multicultural ministries, is the oldest and largest Unitarian Universalist people of color ministry and an anti-racism community founded here and based in North America. Drum is affiliated with UUA and has a growing membership of UU people of color from every district and region, and is working both to support our UU denomination in becoming an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, multicultural UUA, but also in creating spaces for young people, young adults, and our families of color. To make a donation on Banco, use the donate button on our website or by scanning the QR code in our program. Please select the line for either Sunday plate offering or special Sunday offering. The designation is important to ensure your gift gets applied correctly. And if you're sending a check, please mark in today's date in the memo line. And now our offering will be taken and gratefully received.
Thank you so much for the beautiful music this morning. Small group ministry is a program found throughout many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations. The program here at UUSF has been in existence for almost a decade. By show of hands, how many people have participated in a small group ministry program? Quite a few, quite a few. It's a wonderful opportunity for connection with others on a regular basis, delving into topics that are important to our lives. This year, because we are engaging monthly themes, our small groups will be a place to deepen our conversations around the theme or discover other perspectives on the theme. The groups will have materials to choose from and questions tailored to the monthly theme. In addition, we will have groups beyond our traditional groups for people to engage. We will have a monthly Craft the Theme group run by Debbie Wu. Debbie, you want to raise your hand, which will meet in a small group style, but will actually use art materials to figure out how they want to respond to the theme. We will have groups specifically for young adults run by Emma Wakeling. Emma's raising her hand. Our BIPOC members run by Reverend Shennum Fong over in the back there. And a parent guardian group, which will be run by me. Our small groups are one of the places we live into our congregational covenant. It's a time of really, truly deep listening to each other. These are not discussion groups or conversation groups. Instead, they are groups that encourage you to go to that deep place of listening, where you sit with and hear what is being shared, where you sit with your own thoughts and wisdom about topics not normally discussed. What I love most about small groups is how they organically build trust and relationship that is needed for sharing to be intimate and vulnerable. They do this by not jumping into deep conversations. Instead, you start with a known format with each session. The format includes a chalice lighting, a check-in by each member, a moment of pause or silence, a reading, some music, a poem on the theme, and questions to ponder, and then a closing. The space is held by a trained facilitator, and agreements of how the group will be together are put forth. The agreements, which are known ahead of time, are standard for every group and are as follows: listen deeply, respect differences, no crosstalk, so we're not on trial to each other, use I statements, don't expect resolution, so if you're coming to a small group to find an answer, that's not the place. Respect privacy, share group ownership, attend consistently, and you have a right to pass if you don't want to share that day. Through regular group meetings and building a relationship over the months of sharing, the intimacy and vulnerability happen. People learn so much about each other and themselves through this process. It is one of my favorite types of ministries to lead. So enough of me talking about small groups. Let's step into a spiritual practice of small groups by experiencing a modified version this morning. The materials I have put together are from a previous Soul Matters theme from 2021, and the theme was for the month Becoming. The poem and questions can be found in the insert of your order of service. Please pull that out and keep it with you. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to form a small group of 3 to 4 people. I would like you to find in your group at least one person you don't know very well. If you would like to be in a BIPOC small group, then Reverend Shennum Fong, raise your hand again, is back in the back, and you can join him. If you would like to be in a young adult small group, Emma, raise your hand again, will lead our small group. She's also in a really bright color, so she's easy to spot. For those of you who would rather just contemplate on your own, you are welcome to do that as well. You can just sit in your seat, look at the materials, and contemplate on your own. And online, you will have the opportunity to see the materials. Alicia will be posting them in there, and you can discuss them in the chat as well. So I invite you to find your small group and take the insert with you. Don't dive into sharing yet, just move into groups. Okay, once you've found your group, I'd like you to introduce yourself to each other, share your name and something that inspired you to be here this morning. One word or phrase that inspired you to be here this morning. Has everybody gotten a chance to introduce themselves? Anybody still waiting? Okay, all right, now to move on to our second portion. So you have your insert. I'm going to read the poem through once. You're going to be in this group for quite an extended amount of time. So if you're standing, you may want to find a seat if that's more comfortable for you. If not, that's fine too. So I'm going to read the poem. Pay attention to what resonates with you or causes tension. And once I'm done reading, you can review the questions that accompany the poem on the back and decide where your heart feels it wants to share today, okay? The poem is famous by Niobe Shahib Nai. The river is famous to the fish. The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so. The cat sleeping on the fence is famous to the birds watching him from the birdhouse. The tear is famous, briefly, to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your bosom is famous to your bosom. The boot is famous to the earth, more famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to floors. The bent photograph is famous to the one who carries it, and not at all famous to the one who is pictured. I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets, sticky children in grocery lines, famous as the one who smiled back. I want to be famous in the way a pulley is famous, or a buttonhole, not because it did anything spectacular, but because it never forgot what it could do. So in your small groups, take time to share with each other your thoughts or reflection. If you're not speaking, just listen. This is not a time to ask questions or respond to the person speaking. It's only a time to share and listen. And after each person shares, please take a moment just to pause. Allow a space to pause before the next person shares. And we will do this for 20 minutes. Feel free to engage. We are about halfway through. Make sure people in your group who haven't shared are getting a chance to share. And remember, we're just sharing. We're not cross-talking. Okay? We have 5 minutes left. If there has been somebody in your group that hasn't gotten a chance to share, please make sure they have an opportunity to share. Okay, wrap up your sharing. If you'd like to move back to where you were previously, feel free to do so. Thank you for coming back to our larger group. My hope is you felt a little bit of the magic that happens during a small group conversation. that you get to learn about other people, hear some of their thoughts and their reflections on a theme that you may not be discussing on a regular basis. I realize, after talking about monthly themes, that the staff and I have been talking about this, and there's some select people in the congregation that have been talking about this, but it hasn't necessarily been presented to the congregation what we're doing as far as monthly themes. So let me back up a little bit and explain. We're going to be engaging a program called Soul Matters, and they develop all kinds of materials, and they develop monthly themes. So for instance, the larger theme for the whole year, from September through June, is the practice of, okay? And then each month we'll have a different word that goes with it. In September, it's the practice of invitation, okay? So this means in worship, we will delve into that. In small groups, we'll delve into it. We will have a craft group that will delve into it. We will have workshops on that theme for the month. Our ministers' book group will have a specific book on that theme. Our children and youth will be diving into that theme. So this means conversations about that theme will be bubbling everywhere. We're also going to be bringing back our community suppers. We'll do maybe 2 or 3 of those this year. And whatever the theme is of that month, I know, exciting. Whatever the theme is of that month, we'll have questions about that theme at those community suppers. So I really look forward to the enrichment, the deepening, the relationship building, the community building that we'll be doing with these themes and in conversation with each other. So that gives you a little bit more perspective of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about monthly themes. If you're interested in signing up for small group ministry, you have a QR code in your order of service. It's also going to be in the flame on a regular basis. And if you want just a regular paper form to sign up, there's some on the table outside in the gallery, so feel free to do that. If you have questions about it, you can ask me. You can ask, where's Ralph? Ralph Finn and Megan Leamer, Debbie Wu. I mean, there's who else would be willing to answer questions on small group ministry? Reverend Shannon could probably answer questions about the BIPOC group, and Emma on the young adult group. So feel free to reach out and ask the questions that you need. Also, if you want to become a facilitator, I'll hold a training, and you will be trained in how to facilitate. It doesn't take any special skills. It's just a matter of being able to hold space and have a space of listening. With that said, let us have our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. Please rise and body your spirit for our final hymn. If you are so inclined and would like to hold hands with the person next to you, or if not, you can put your hand on their shoulder or ask for them to put your hand on their shoulder or something like that. May we find the places of deep listening and peace through the connections in this community, whether it be in small group ministry or in other ways of building relationship. May it be carried with you on this day and in the day forward. May it be so. Amen.